Welcome. I would like to welcome you to yet another episode of the Unpopular Podcast. This is the man, the myth, the legend, Jalen Hunter. And if you would do me a favor, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, so anything will help. But here's where we'll start. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Eagles on Thursday Night Football. That's not really surprising. Tom Brady did what he usually does, threw for like 297 yards. He did, however, throw his first interception of the season. But no, I didn't. I don't know how many people in the world outside of Philly fans really thought that Philly was going to win the game. They did make it interesting at the end, but again, Tampa Bay beat them 28-22. Nothing really surprising there. The Eagles aren't really that good of a team. The Bucks are Super Bowl or reigning Super Bowl champions. Nothing really to report on that except for, water is wet, I guess you can say. I mean, anything can happen in the league, you know what I mean? But everyone and their mama thought that the Bucks were going to win the game, and that's what happened. Except for the people, of course, like the bettors that try to shoot for the stars or anything like that. But watching this game, now the game as a whole wasn't that interesting. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, it was a game. It was Thursday Night Football. It wasn't that interesting because it just, what happened was supposed to happen. It wasn't that interesting. However, I've had this question has been looming for a while. And the question is with Jalen Hurts. Now, I've been on this podcast talking about, Jalen Hurts may not be it, but then he has proven me wrong from time to time. But the question that I was sitting there thinking while I was watching the game was, is Jalen Hurts, I can't wrap my brain around Jalen Hurts. Is Jalen Hurts a franchise quarterback? Can Jalen Hurts take the Eagles that ever since the Super Bowl year has kind of been in obscurity? Can he take them and rise them up the ranks? And I don't know. And I say that, of course, that's the easy way out, but I say that because watching this Eagles team, right? And watching the Eagles team, They ask so much of this guy. They ask so much of Jalen Hurts. I don't think Jalen Hurts is. When we talk about some of the elite young quarterbacks, you got Baker Mayfield. No, whoa, not Baker. You got Justin Herbert. You got Joe Burrow. You got some of the young, good quarterbacks. And a lot of people want to put Jalen Hurts' name in there, but I'm just not too sure if he's in there. However, I do know this. And I do know that this is quite unfortunate for Jalen Hurts. First and foremost, Jalen Hurts is not a polished car, you can say. He hasn't reached his pinnacle, I don't believe. Now, if he has, I could be wrong, but I feel like Jalen Hurts has room to grow. I mean, ever since, Alabama, him losing due to injury, but losing pretty much his starting spot to Tua, Jalen Hurts, he's good. Of course, he went to Oklahoma and everything and how that ended, but Jalen Hurts is good. I mean, on Thursday, he threw He had 12 completions, threw 26 times, had 115 yards in the air, ran for 44 yards, had 3 touchdowns altogether, 2 rushing, 1 passing. He did have an interception, but the reason why I wonder if Jalen Hurts is a franchise quarterback is because I know right now he's not. Right now, Jalen Hurts has a lot of work to do. Jalen Hurts, some of his decision making is still off. Some of his, his accuracy is still off a little bit. I understand. I'm not expecting him to be a franchise quarterback. I think 2-3 years into his career. I think 3 years into his career, maybe 2. I don't know. I don't remember. But I do know this: the Eagles ask way too much of him. Way too much. They expect way too much of him. They expect him, and it's not the fact that he has to do it. It's the fact that they just put it on him. And what I mean to that is if they use it, they have a decent running game. And Sanders, they have they have a decent running game. They just don't use it that much. They have some okay pieces. They have Jalen Reagor. They had Zach Ertz. We'll talk about it in a second. But they have decent pieces. It's just they're putting so much on Jalen Hurts. I just don't know if he is. What I don't want to happen is they use him up and they don't use him they don't put him in the best position to win, and then they use him up to the point where if his contract's over or he goes somewhere else, he's just damaged goods at that point, and he's not that good. He wouldn't be that good because he hasn't been able to develop. He's definitely better than Rosen. Josh Rosen. He's definitely better than Josh Rosen. But let me compare those two. To me, Josh Rosen is just an unfortunate story in the league because he was never able to go to the right organization, the right place, and they never really. Josh Rosen coming out of college was supposed to be like a top pick, and he was one of the top picks. It's just he never went to an organization that one believed in. He never went to the right organization for him. And as you see, he got washed up early, and I don't even know if he's in the league anymore. Now, no, Jalen Hurts is definitely better than Josh Rosen, but the Eagles use him. The Eagles put too much on his plate. There should be no reason why. Now, yes, they were getting. I think that the Eagles were losing by like 21 points against the Bucks, and it was definitely Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts that kind of brought him back in the game. Now, it was a terrible taunting call that definitely pretty much sealed the fate for the Eagles, but they just I don't know, man. It's hard for me to watch what I'm watching out of Jalen Hurts and the Eagles and not just feel bad, because now I understand it's NFL, it's a football league or National Football League. I get that, and they're expecting you to be great at day one, but everyone that's watching the Eagles, Jalen Hurts' limitations. Everyone knows. We know his limitations, and we know that Jalen Hurts may not be ready to really take over a franchise. Can he be a franchise quarterback? I believe so. I believe he has the talent. I believe he has the arm strength. I believe he has the leadership to be. I mean, he's a captain of the team. But I just think it's unfortunate because I've seen this way too often. I've seen a quarterback that's not ready to be a franchise quarterback. They thrust him into a franchise quarterback position, put a lot on him, even when they have different pieces. I mean, you have a good running game. You have a okay defense, a better than okay. You have a good defense, but you're putting so much on Jalen Hurts that there might get to a point where you use him up until he's not good. Of course, you don't reach expectations because you're putting unrealistic expectation on him and on your team. It's unfortunate, man. Jalen Hurts is good. And no, he's not a franchise quarterback right now, but I don't know if they'll use him. I don't know if he'll be able to develop to be a franchise quarterback. One, because of the piece that's around him. While they are good, I don't know they're good enough to be, to be, I guess you can say. I'll say this. The Eagles are good, and the Eagles can be a really good power running game. They really can. They have a decent. I mean, the limited carries that Miles Sanders had on Thursday, 9 rushes for 56 yards. He averaged 6.2 yards a carry. He is good enough he should get more of the workload. There should be no reason, and I understand throwing the ball 26 times is not a lot these days in the NFL, but you just watch every single Eagles game, and they put a lot on Jalen Hurts. Now, you can say, well, they put a lot on Joe Burrow. They put a lot on Justin Herbert. They put a lot on, some of these young quarterbacks. I understand that, but Jalen Hurts is not Joe Burrow. Jalen Hurts is not Justin Herbert. And that's really no indictment on him. That's just saying that some quarterbacks take longer to develop than others. And some quarterbacks can take more workload than others. So it's unfortunate, watching it, because again, it's just, I don't want them to use up the talent that he does have to the point where he's unable to grow, he's unable to develop, because he's pretty much, I'm not gonna say washed up, but at that point he'll be pretty much damaged goods. You know what I mean? And I don't see the talent. Nick Sirianni should not be a head coach. I mean, he doesn't. I don't know how or why he's a head coach, but he shouldn't be. And it's just unfortunate. It goes back into the category that I talk about time and time again, that fit matters. And you can be a great quarterback, or you can be a really good quarterback and be put in a terrible situation, and it can ruin your career. It almost ruined Sam Darnold's career. We'll see. I mean, he looked like old Sam Darnold on Sunday, so we'll see what he looks like this week. But fit matters, man. Think about it. Do you see any hope? I'm not gonna say any hope, but do you see with the talent that's around him? Do you see any way that Zach Wilson can get better with the talent that's around him? Do you see any way that Trevor Lawrence can really get better with the talent that's around him right now? Like, it's tough, man. It's tough. Jalen, and it goes back to Jalen Hurts. I don't really see. In fact, if you put more on Miles Sanders, I do think that Jalen Hurts has the possibility to get better, but they don't do it. They put almost, I think Jalen Hurts accounted for like 95 or 96% of the Eagles' offense on Thursday. When you have I understand that if you don't have a running game, Miles Sanders is good as a good running back. It sucks, man. And I've seen this way too often, man. I've seen quarterbacks that, just get used up in horrible situations to the point where they are able to move, or they get stuck where they're at, and they just don't develop, or they can't because of everything that's around them, and it's unfortunate. So I hope that's a different case for Jalen Hurts. So to answer my question, to bring it full circle, is Jalen Hurts a franchise quarterback? I think he's good enough to be. Not right now, but I do think that he needs some more development. I do think that he needs a lot more people around him and a lot more pieces around him that can assist him in that. But I just don't. I think they're using him right now as a franchise quarterback, and he is not one right now. And it just goes back to the conversation that I've had time and time again, in that you don't want to rush a player or you don't want to rush a player, because sometimes you can rush them to a point where they never reach the potential that they should have reached if you would have been patient. And the Eagles, in my opinion, don't need to rush. It's just, it feels like they're just throwing everything. It's Jalen Hurts or bust. And that's unfortunate when you have a good running game, when you have really good piece on the defense, so. But also out of this game, Zach Hurts had a really good game. He had a couple catches. I know he had a touchdown, but he got traded to the Cardinals for cornerback Tay Gowan and 2022 fifth round pick. I'm not going to say I'm surprised because Zach Hurts has been winning out of the Philly for a while. It seems like he's one of those players that their name's always on the trade block, or their name is always out there. I mean, I know he did request a trade, but it just always seems like Zach Hurts is trying to get, or one of them names, or watch out for Zach Hurts because he might be on the move. So I'm surprised. I'm more surprised at the fact that it actually happened. Not surprised at the fact that he got traded, because that was pretty inevitable. But it's been waiting. The trade request came so long ago, and I'm just surprised they finally did it. And this is a really good Zach Hurts is. While I think his production went down, not because he's a bad player, not because his skills are getting washed up. It's because he wasn't happy with the where he was in Philly, and they stopped scheming for him. Like, they stopped running plays for him and stuff like that. So I think I think the Cardinals got a really good piece. I mean, that's just another weapon to add and to give to Kyler Murray. I mean, Zach Ertz, AJ Green, DeAndre Hopkins, Randall Moore, Christian Kirk. They got a squad, man, and that's Zach Ertz, man. He's a former Pro Bowler. He's. I just think that you're gonna see the best. I mean, look at JJ Watt. You're seeing JJ Watt. His last few years at the Texans were not good due to injury and the fact that they just weren't good. And now you're seeing JJ Watt play some of the best football he's played in a while. Same, and I think that you're going to see that also from Zach Ertz. I think when you're pairing him with a quarterback like Kyler Murray, I just think that's a great trade for the Cardinals. It's just you're really starting to see, like, it's kind of hard to picture it in the moment, but you're really starting to see, the Cardinals making all the right moves. I mean, they're already 5-0 at this point, and then they're just making great move after great move after great move. So I'm excited to see how Zach Ertz turn, how this goes for Zach Ertz and how this goes for the Cardinals, because they're getting a really good tight end. I mean, there was a point where Zach Ertz was at least a top 3 to top 5 tight end in this league, and I think that he can get back to that once you go to a new team, especially after asking for a trade and not being satisfied where you are. It has a tendency to rejuvenate players. So I'm excited to see what happens with Zach Ertz. So another story another story that's happening, or that happened this week, and I guess that's happening on Sunday, is the retirement of Sean Taylor's jersey in Washington. For people that don't know who Sean Taylor is probably one of the most beloved players, probably the most beloved player in Washington history, and one of the more beloved players in NFL history. He was one of the best safeties in the league. Of course, he was tragically killed during a home invasion. But for whatever reason, Washington has not retired his jersey or retired the number 21, even though I think it's been about 4 or 5 years since a player actually wore the number 21 for the organization. But they're officially retiring the number, or retiring the jersey on Sunday. And I hate it. I hate everything about this, man. I don't hate the fact that they're retiring the jersey. And in fact, I don't know what the hell took them so long to do it. Sean Taylor is Sean Taylor is the most beloved player in Washington football history. We've had Art Monk. We've had Joe Theismann. We've had a lot of great players. But Sean, when we think about Washington and we think about some of the players, or the players that we loved when they played, Sean Taylor is up there. So I don't hate the fact that his number is jersey's getting retired, because I think that should have been happen. I don't know why it didn't happen or what took so long, but it should have been happen. But here's why I hate it, man. Because of everything that's swirling around the Washington football team, with the raid from the FBI to emails to the John Gruden to Bruce Allen to the whole what's happening with what's his name now, Adam Schefter. It's just and Dan Snyder. There's so much going on, and I hate the fact, even if they've been planning this, right? Even if they've been planning this for a while. And I understand that, there's a new regime in, with the whole name change. There's a new regime outside of Dan Snyder. There's a new front office pretty much for Washington. So I understand that this is pretty much like, the especially with Bruce Allen and everything that's going on with the FBI and stuff. I understand that this is pretty much your attempt to say, hey, this, the old regime did not want to retire the jersey, did not retire the number for some reason. The new regime is, this is what we're doing. This is pretty much, what we're trying to do. But I hate it because it just feels like this is nothing but a marketing blanket that can cover the team from everything that's been going on, from the John Gruden emails to the Bruce Allen emails to the Dan Snyder. Well, let's not forget about what happened with the cheerleaders just last year. And there seemed to be no resolution, or I didn't hear any resolution from what happened with the cheerleaders and the sex scandal. So there's so much going on with Washington, and there has been so much going. Oh, don't get me started with the whole name, with the previous name. So there's just been so much going on, and it feels like that this is nothing but a marketing blanket so that, hey, I understand everything is going on. Let me distract you with retiring a beloved Washington football team's, an old. Let me, we all know that everyone loves Sean Taylor. So let's just revert your attention here and not over here. Now, I know they came out and apologized for the short notice because they announced this. Now, if you look at usual jersey or number retirements, they usually tell you months in advance. Like, they'll say, hey, we're retiring, I don't know, RG3's jersey. They'll tell you that in the offseason, or they'll tell you that before game one or week one. Let's say in week 9 or 10, we're going to retire RG3's jersey. Not saying that will happen. I'm just saying. They'll usually do that. They don't tell you on a Thursday. No, they don't tell you on a Wednesday or a Thursday that they're retiring a player's jersey on a Sunday. That's why it just seems like it's horrible timing. And like, you can't say, oh, well, we have everything in motion. We just can't we can't stop it from here. Yeah, you can. Yes, you can. You can say, hey, due to everything going on right now, we're going to postpone the jersey retirement. And here's the thing that I think that they don't understand. Nobody would be upset. Because most people are upset about it going down on Sunday. Because they know everything that's swirling around the Washington football team right now. Hell, just 2-3 weeks ago, the team was raided by the FBI. John Gruden was having these email exchanges with, I think, Dan Snyder and like Bruce Allen or something like that. The same emails that got John Gruden out of here is this. Oh man, and if they wanted to do this, right? If they wanted this to be it feels like it is. I could be wrong, but if you ask most people, it feels like this is hey, we know we messed up, or we know a lot going on. Let's try to bring the fan base back. Let's try to clear our name by retiring a beloved player's jersey that unfortunately passed away tragically. There's so much other stuff they could have done. Hell, the Washington football team is still called the Washington football team because we don't have a name. I don't know why you didn't just say, hey, what we're going to do is we're going to reveal the name. Reveal the name for next season. You could have done that. To me, it feels like you're playing with Sean Taylor's name, and that is beyond disgusting. I understand, again, you're retiring his number. Cool. That's great. I don't know why it took this long, but that's great. But don't do it at the expense of, we're only doing this so to keep the fan base happy and to keep the fan base distracted while everything. It's kind of like that dog meme. I'm fine. Everything's fine. When he's in the house and everything around him is burning. It's unfortunate, man. Again, I could be wrong. I could definitely be wrong. They could have been planning this, but if they were planning this, why are they just telling us this 4 days before it happens? it's it's unfortunate. Sean Taylor's jersey should have been retired. Should have been in the Raptors. And it's so Washington though, man. Washington will find a way to mess up a layup. Washington will find a way to miss a wide open layup, and this is a wide open layup. Sean Taylor is one of the most, if not the most beloved player in Washington football history. Of course, the people are excited about getting his number retired. Of course, his number should be retired, but don't do it under these circumstances, man. Don't do it under these circumstances. That is disgusting, if you ask me. It's not disgusting. That's just, nah. That's wild, man. And as a fan, it's like as a fan of the team. I mean, born and raised in Maryland. It's just like how. It's tacky. It's just bad, man. It's bad that you're using a player that unfortunately passed away's name like this. Just not because, again, I'm almost sure if everything was sweet, if everything was cool, if Washington didn't have all this heat on him from the FBI to release the 65,000 emails, if they didn't have all this heat on him, I put money that we would not hear nothing about Sean Taylor's jersey being retired right now. And that is also very unfortunate. Oh, man. Let me move forward. So week 6, I'll talk about it in a second. Week 6 is here pretty much. And I am going to predict the games. And since we were just on Washington, let me predict another thing. I understand this is homecoming week. For people that don't know what that is in the NFL, that's when, a lot of the greats from a certain team come back. Like you'll see Ray Lewis come back for the Ravens, or Alodi Nahada. I know he just got elected into the Ring of Honor, so that's pretty much like their homecoming. Washington's homecoming is this week, where, of course, you see some of the Washington legends like Chris Cooley. I know Fred Smoot might be there. Santana Moss, they come back and I guess honor Sean Taylor's jersey retirement. But I just talked about everything that's going on with it, like everything that's going on with Washington and how it feels. Why in the hell would you have homecoming and Sean Taylor's retirement the same day that you're playing Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, when you have statistically one of the worst defenses in the league, and the offense ain't doing no better, especially with reports coming out that Terry McLaurin might not even play. So needless to say, the first game I'm going to predict is the Kansas City Chiefs at Washington. Both are 2-3. But let's not get it confused here. Washington is about to get destroyed by Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs just came off a bad loss against the Buffalo Bills, so they're already gunning for a win. They're already ready and hungry for a win. So Washington has I think they're about to, you're running into a buzzsaw. I mean, all you've heard all week is Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, first, I will say this. It is the Chiefs' defense has been horrible this year. They have been horrible. Their red zone defense, I think, is arguably one of the worst in NFL history. If you look statistically, they just been horrible. But Washington's offense ain't been good. Tyler Heineke has been better than I expected, but he hasn't been that good. He did have 2 turnovers last week. The defense has just been horrible, and the last thing you want to do is have a bad defense against Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, now Josh Gordon, Mecole Hardman. It's not gonna work. I don't know. So Kansas City Chiefs will beat Washington. Dolphins play the Jaguars. Tua comes back. Somebody got to win the game. I mean, the Dolphins are 1-4, and the Jaguars are 0-5. I got the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins have a better defense, even though the defense has not played nearly as good as they played last year and nearly as good as I thought they would play. I just have the Dolphins. The Dolphins are better than the Jaguars. The Jaguars are probably the worst team in the league. So there's that. So I have the Dolphins winning that. Rams at Giants. Sterling Shepard is supposed to be playing, and Daniel Jones is supposed to be playing. However, Darius Slayton's not playing, I don't think. Kenny Galladay is not playing, nor is Saquon Barkley, who is your best player. And then you're going against a Rams team that is healthy and is better, even at their best. Like, even if the Giants were completely healthy, I don't see them beating the Rams, so I have the Rams winning that game. I have the Colts and the Texans, the battle of the 1-4s. I got the Colts. The Colts played really well against the Ravens on Monday Night Football. Carson Wentz threw for like 400 yards. He had one of the best games he had as a Colt, and he had actually one of the best games he had in a while, honestly. It just was Lamar Jackson was just a little better. And, I mean, I think, the Colts probably went out or left that game Monday night thinking they should have won. So I think they're going to have a lot of motivation going against the Texans, especially the Texans are one of those teams. The Texans aren't good. I mean, they have a rookie quarterback. The team is not good. I mean, it's not good. And these are one of those quote unquote gimme games. Like, you're supposed to win this game, especially when you're coming off the emotional high or the emotional roller coaster game that you had against the Ravens. You want some of these gimmies. Even though they're 1-4, the Colts still have an opportunity, and still in the playoff race if they start rattling off some of these wins. And it has to start with some of these gimme games. So I think that the Colts, especially, and again, they played really well on Monday Night Football. Lamar Jackson was just better. So I think that the Colts are going to win this game against the Texans. And the Colts are at home. So I have the Bengals and the Lions. The Lions are 0-5, but the Bengals are playing really well, even though they did lose to the Packers in the missed kick game. But, Joe Burrow has played really well. Jamar Chase has played well. And Joe Mixon has played well, even though he is questionable. We'll see how that goes. But I know the Lions are going to play hard. The Lions are going to play really hard. You know what? I'm going to do upset. I think the Lions are going to beat the Bengals. I think they play really hard. Jared Goff, they are playing at home in the Dome. I think Jared Goff is going to pull it off. Jared Goff is going to beat the Bengals. I know the Bengals are 3-2. Again, Joe Burrow's played really well, but I just think that the Lions are going to. I don't know, man. The Lions got to win sometime, and this might be the game. The Bengals defense still isn't that good, even though Joe Burrow is just lighting them up. But I got the Lions winning this game. Upset. Lions are going to beat the Bengals. Packers at Bears. I got the Packers, the best quarterback. You have Aaron Rodgers. You have Devontae Adams. I do think that the Bears defense are playing a little bit better. However, you're going against, I don't know, actually. I do think the Packers are going to win. But you used to be able to say, well, you have Aaron Rodgers, so Aaron Rodgers is going to play great. But the last few weeks, it's just the Packers defense and offense hasn't really been clicking. And the Bears defense is playing a lot better, and of course Justin Fields is starting. So I still have the Packers, though. I just think you have the best quarterback. You have the best two players on the field or on either team or on the Packers, and that is Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers. So I have the Packers winning that one. Chargers at Baltimore. I think the Chargers are going to win this game. I did not like what I saw. Now I do understand that Rashad Bateman, the Ravens' first round pick, I know he's going to be playing, even though Sammy Watkins is going to be out. But I'm excited to see what he looks like. But I did not like what I saw against that Ravens defense against the Colts and against Carson Wentz. And don't get it confused. At this point in time, Justin Herbert is better than Carson Wentz. And when you have Mike Williams, you have Keenan Allen, I Echo. I just think the Chargers. I think the Chargers are a better team right now than the Ravens, and it's just that defense, man. I saw Carson Wentz carve up that defense, and I can only and I just it's hard for me to unsee that, especially with Justin Herbert coming into town, and he's been carving up everyone that except for the Cowboys. So and he should have won that game anyway. So I had the Chargers winning that game. Vikings at Panthers. I have the Panthers winning this, one, because they're at home, two, because it really depends on the Sam Darnold that we get. If we get the Sam Darnold from last week, then the Vikings are definitely winning this game. But if we get the Sam Darnold that's played, or if we get the Sam Darnold that's been playing most of these games this season, the Sam Darnold that got them 3 wins, I think they'll be good. I think they'll be good. Sam Darnold, again, it really depends on the Sam Darnold that we get. The Vikings defense isn't the best. Kirk Cousins, he's not really dependable, even though they did win last week. He's not really dependable. So it really depends on how Sam Darnold plays. And I have the Panthers, and their defense is good. The Panthers defense has the Panthers have a really good defense. So I have the Panthers winning that game. Cardinals at Browns. I think this is gonna be a really good game. But I just think, the Cardinals are just better. There's a reason why they're the only undefeated team in the league right now. And there's a lot. Baker Mayfield, he hasn't really gotten better. In fact, it kind of feels like he's gotten worse. Not saying he's horrible, but he's a good quarterback. I think he's not a great quarterback. I don't think he's cool. He's all right. But the thing that I don't like about Baker Mayfield is his productivity goes down in the fourth quarter. His stats and his ratings and all that stuff goes down in the fourth quarter when it's supposed to rise in the fourth quarter. And when you're going up against the Cardinals defense that's really good this year, and you're going up against that offense, you're going to need to score a lot of points. And I just don't, especially with the connection that Baker's having with Odell Beckham Jr. right now, is just not there. I just think Cardinals are a better team, and I have the Cardinals winning that. Raiders and Broncos. I have the Raiders. I think that last week they were distracted, especially with the whole, John Gruden thing. And I just think that they're a better team, even though they're both 3-2. Now, the Broncos have a better defense, don't get me wrong. But I just think that the Raiders are gonna bounce back from last week. But it does really depend on Derek Carr. Derek Carr has had 2 back-to-back pretty much sub or decent, or no, not decent, like below decent games. It depends on that. I mean, I think Derek Carr is going to be between Derek Carr and Teddy Bridgewater. And I have Derek Carr right now, so I have the Raiders beating that one. Cowboys at Patriots. I think Cowboys are going to destroy the Patriots. The Cowboys are firing on all cylinders right now. Dak Prescott's playing good. Ezekiel Elliott's playing good. CeeDee Lamb's playing good. Amari Cooper's playing good. Dalton Schultz is playing good. Everyone is playing good. Even the defense is playing good for the Cowboys. And to me, it's going to be a shootout because it seems like all the Cowboys games have been high scoring because they can score pretty well. And I just don't see Mac Jones keeping up with the scoring. So I have the Cowboys destroying the Patriots, honestly. I don't even think it's going to be close, honestly. The Seahawks at the Steelers. I have the Steelers winning this one. This is Sunday Night Football. You're really about to see the difference that the Seahawks look like between having Russell Wilson as their quarterback and having Geno Smith as their quarterback. Don't let it confuse you. Even though Geno Smith had a really good touchdown pass to DK Metcalf at the end of the game, no. You're really about to see exactly who the Seahawks are without a future Hall of Fame quarterback in Russell Wilson. The Steelers that have a really good defense, arguably the best defense in the league, is going to go. It's about to get bad for the Seahawks, in my opinion. They did just put Russell Wilson on IR, meaning he's not coming back till week 10, or he's not available till week 10. It really depends on how his finger heals. But it's about to get bad for the Seahawks. The Seahawks have a tough few games, starting with the Steelers. Don't get me wrong, the Steelers, especially offensively, have been bad this year. However, Najee Harris is, man, and the Seahawks defense is not good still. Like, so I can only imagine. And then Monday Night Football, the Bills at Titans. I think the Bills are gonna win. I mean, the Bills pretty much beat their hardest competition, in my opinion, and that is the Chiefs. Now, I do think that Derrick Henry running the ball is going to cause him some problems, but I have the Bills winning this game. Josh Allen is an MVP candidate and playing like one, and he's getting everyone involved. Emmanuel Sanders has been great for him. Stephon Diggs is still Stephon Diggs. Devin Singletary's been good, so I just have the Bills winning that game. And the Titans lost to the Jets. So in their defense, the only reason why they're really pretty much skating by is because of how good Derrick Henry is, and Ryan Tannehill hasn't really lost in the game, but their defense is bad. So I have the Bills winning that game. So there's that, man. There's that. Those are my predictions. If you agree, let me know. If you don't agree, let me know, and we'll definitely leave it in the comments. We'll definitely talk about it. So, moving forward. So, as we're shooting this, Game 3 of the WNBA Finals has already happened. Oh no, it hasn't happened yet. As I'm shooting this, I'm shooting this at Friday night, dropping it Saturday. So the game starts at 9. I'm shooting this before 9. But this has been a very, very good WNBA Finals, man. It's been good. Man, we've had some of the best basketball that we've seen out of the WNBA Finals, man. The series is tied 1-0 or 1-up, I'm sorry. And game 1, we saw the Chicago Sky just blast the Phoenix Mercury, man. Like, Kayla Copper has been great, man. And Vandersloot was great game 1. Everyone was great game 1. Game 2 was probably one of the best WNBA games I've seen in a while. The Phoenix Mercury won in overtime 91-86. And I think that the Sky, I think two things can be true about this game. I think the Sky definitely lost this game, and Phoenix won the game. I say Phoenix won the game because Phoenix did everything they were supposed to do. Brittany Griner was incredible. She had 29 points. Skylar Diggins had 13 and 12. Diana Taurasi, who wasn't hitting at all. I mean, she was 4 for 13 from the 3, but all 4 had to come in the fourth quarter in overtime. So she came in clutch. It was a great game, man. It was a great game. And I think that the reason, though, and the reason why I said that the Chicago Sky lost the game is because they had 16 turnovers. And a lot of those turnovers were big fourth quarter turnovers that really allowed the Phoenix Mercury to get back in the game. Now, I don't know, again, as recording this, I don't know what happened in game 3, but I feel the winner of game 3 will win the series. That's just my opinion. And I think that the Sky have done everything right. If they cut down on their turnovers, they're going to win the series because they just have been a better team, in my opinion. However, if Brittany Griner continues to play how she's playing, not only will she be the Finals MVP or WNBA Finals MVP, but she'll solidify herself as one of the greatest centers that we've seen. I mean, she's been unstoppable this entire playoffs. And if she continues to be like that against, the Sky Bigs, it's going to be a long day. But I will say that this has been, one of the best WNBA finals that we've seen in a while, honestly. In fact, I'll go as far as to say that it's probably the last time we've seen a WNBA Finals this interesting, now I'm definitely biased, was when the Washington Mystics won back in 2019. Just saying. Also, shouts out to the WNBA first and second team. They were announced, and I know the first team was Jaquel Jones. Of course, she is. She's the MVP. Skylar Diggins, Smith, Brittany Griner, Brianna Stewart, and Jewel Lloyd. Shouts out to Jewel Lloyd. She definitely had a breakout season. She averaged 18 points a game, 4 assists, and 1.4 or 1.5 steals. She had a career high of 37 points. She had a breakout year, so shouts out to her. And the second team was Asia Wilson, Sylvia Fowles, Arike Unguwale, Tina Charles, and Courtney Vandersloot. I'm glad I understand that we didn't win that much as far as the Mystics, but I'm glad that at least Tina Charles made one of these lists. She finished averaging 23 points, 23.4 points a game, which is the 6th best average in WNBA history. And she averaged 9.6 rebounds a game, which is 4th in the league. So that's the all WNBA first and second team. Shouts out to the ladies, and shouts out to both Phoenix Mercury and Chicago Sky for having a very, very good WNBA Finals. Again, as we're recording this, Game 3 is happening right now. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll talk about it, I guess, next time I see y'all. So moving forward. So the NBA season starts on Tuesday, and I'm continuing my my NBA divisional breakdown, and we're going to tackle the Northwest Division, which is the Utah Jazz, the Denver Nuggets, the Portland Trail Blazers, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the OKC Thunder. Let's start with the OKC Thunder, man. They're not going to be good this year, but they know that. There's no reason why, or there's a reason why they compile like 111 draft picks from everybody. All they really have is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Lou Dort, who is an incredible defender. But they don't really have much. They're not going to be in. I don't see them making the playoffs. I don't see them making any noise, but I don't think that that's their goal. They're trying to play the long game. I mean, when you have a team that saw Kevin Durant, James Harden, Paul George, Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul, all walk through your or wore your jersey, and now they don't anymore. Yeah, you're playing the long game. You know that you're not going to be good right now, and that's they know that because they have like 1,000 picks in the next 5 years. So I don't think they do have Shai Gilgeous, and I think he did sign an extension. So and he's one of the better young players in the league. But OKC Thunder's not making any noise this year. Minnesota Timberwolves is interesting. They have a young core outside of Karl Anthony. Well, Karl Anthony Towns is still young, but he's pretty much their vet. I don't see them making much noise either, because I don't know why, but they never do. I don't know. And it goes back to the question that I present a while ago is, do you really want to build your team around Karl Anthony Towns? Because they've done that from time to time again, and it hasn't really gotten them anywhere. I don't know why they're not as good as they are, even with the talents of Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards, who finished second in Rookie of the Year last year. You have D'Angelo Russell, even though he was injured. Even with that three, I don't know. I don't see much success there, because I feel I've seen the best of Karl Anthony Towns, and he's a really good player, but he's not leading them anywhere, and neither is D'Angelo Russell. I think people get fooled thinking that he was the main. Well, he was a big reason, but he was the main reason that year that Brooklyn went to the playoffs. But it's probably because they had probably one of the best benches and one of the best support. They just played as a great team. But I don't see Minnesota making any noise, especially in the playoffs. I don't even know if they make it to the playoffs, honestly. Portland Trail Blazers. This is a big year for Portland. This is a big year for Portland because we all heard the frustration, and we all know the frustration that Damian Lillard has. And it's not just with the organization. It's the fact that he wants to win. He is recognized as one of, if not the best point guard in the league. Well, I don't think he's one of the best point guards in the league. And they've been bounced they've been bounced in the first round of the playoffs for the last 5 years. And again, we heard the frustration and I, for the life of me, do not understand how you hear and you feel that Damian Lillard could be out the door, and you make almost no, and I mean no moves this offseason. I don't, and it's not like they couldn't either. Like, they could have made some moves, and they just didn't. So I think this is a big year for Portland. Portland has to not only make the playoffs, but they have to get out the first round, in my opinion, to make Damian Lillard happy. And if they don't, do not be surprised if I'm not going to say demand. I don't know, because I know he said that he's not the type of person to demand a trade, but he also said he wasn't the type of person to, really be upset with the organization for not winning, and we see how that changed. So this is a big, big year for Portland. I think that they'll be good. I just don't think they're good enough I don't think they have enough pieces to actually be like a contender. Outside, CJ McCollum, he's cool, but he's not really dependable night after night. The only dependable person they have is Damian Lillard. So I don't know, man. The Denver Nuggets, I think the Denver Nuggets are going to be the best team in this division. You have the reigning MVP in Nikola Jokic, which I think he's probably one of the most disrespected MVPs ever, because it's like he just won the MVP, but you don't hear anybody really talk about it. In fact, when we talk about some of the best players in the league, all we hear about is, of course, LeBron, KD, Giannis, Steph Curry, Luka Doncic. Like, we hear all those players. We very rarely hear Nikola Jokic, and he just won the MVP. I think that, and another thing that got swept under the rug was the extension that Michael Porter signed. I think that this team, if they stay healthy with Jamal Murray, Will Barton, this team, in my opinion, is going to be not only the best team in the Northwest Division. I think that they're going to have a say-so in what happens in the finals. As far as the Western Conference, this team is that good. This team, again, if Nikola Jokic improves or continues to improve, he just won the MVP, but this team is good. This team will make some noise in the playoffs, and I think that they're going to be the best team in the Northwest. And then, of course, you have the other team in the Northwest, and the last team in the Northwest is Utah. Utah is just one of those teams. They have, Donovan Mitchell's really good, Rudy Gobert. It's just a rugged team, but I think that they're a little too dependent on Donovan Mitchell to create the shot, because the only, to me, other player that they have that can really put the ball on the ground and create a shot is Jordan Clarkson. Now, I understand he did win Sixth Man of the Year last year, but there's a reason why as soon as Donovan Mitchell did not play his best series against the Clippers, and they lost, even without Kawhi Leonard most of the series. So I just think that they're a little too dependent on Donovan Mitchell. Rudy Gobert was, he was great defensively, but that's pretty much all and setting pick and rolls, but that's pretty much it. And when you playing up against a team like the Clippers, and they make him play on the perimeter, it's a long day for Rudy Gobert. So I think that, of course, it's going to be neck and neck between Utah and Denver as the top spot in the Northwest Division. But I'm just going to go with Denver because they have the reigning MVP, because Michael Porter Jr. is playing great, because they're getting Jamal Murray back. I just think that it's going to be Denver. But I do think Utah definitely is going to have something to say as far as the positioning in the playoffs. I don't think that they can go deep in the playoffs because I haven't seen it. But, We'll definitely see how that goes. And another thing while we're on the NBA is something I've been thinking about. And shouts out to Bleacher Report, because they wrote an article about it the other day. And I've been thinking about this for a while, though. Not saying that they got it from me or anything, but because I didn't say it out loud. But so we know what's happening with Kyrie Irving and Ben Simmons. Now, no, I'm not going to rehash what's happening with Kyrie Irving and Ben Simmons. We know Kyrie's not with the Brooklyn Nets due to the vaccine. And we know that Ben Simmons is pretty much trying to dictate or trying to force his way out of Philly. And one thing that I've been thinking about as I've been hearing both of these, so Ben Simmons did report to camp. I don't think he's gonna play. I think he's just reporting to camp so he doesn't lose all the money that he's supposed to lose if he doesn't report. And Ben and Kyrie is not even can't be with the team, can't practice with the team until he's a full participant, i.e., until he gets vaccinated. So Bleacher Report pretty much put out an article saying that these two, the ramifications of whatever happens with Kyrie and Ben Simmons can definitely have a ripple effect on the league. And one thing that I've been wondering is how is this going to affect the CBA? And they pretty much said it's going to affect it. How, we don't know, but the league and the CBA has been putting in double time the last few years. I mean, with the whole pandemic, with the stoppage, with the bubble, with the shortened season, now with the regular, trying to get back on track with the regular schedule. The CBA and the NBA has been going through a lot, and the world's gone through a lot with the whole pandemic and everything. So I'm like, how is the CBA and how is the NBA going to deal with players that decide not to get vaccinated and decide or have to be away from their team with the whole mandates or the citywide or statewide mandates, or players that, as we've seen, players that are trying to force their way out, i.e. Ben Simmons, i.e. Anthony Davis. We've seen this from time to time, and I've always wondered, how the CBA is going to change. The last thing that teams want to do is continue to give stars 4, 5, 6 year deals, and then 2 years in the deal, they demand a trade. That's just not going to keep happening. The last thing you want to do is have a star like Kyrie Irving say, you know what, I know that you agreed to pay me, but I'm not going to be there because, I'm not getting the vaccine. It is fast. I'm fascinated to see, and I wonder how is the CBA and how are the league. They're going to have to change this. I'm not going to say going to have to, but they're going to change this. I think they're going to make it stricter, and they're already trying to do away with load management. So I'm just wondering how this is what effects this is going to have. This whole Kyrie and Ben Simmons situation, how it's going to affect the league. And the article pretty much states that, I think that they might do, you have to play out maybe 80% or 90% of your contract before asking for a trade. They're probably gonna put, change how you get paid if you aren't able to perform due to the vaccine and stuff, since the world in general is still trying to figure out what's going to go on with that. So, I don't have the answers to it, but it's definitely interesting. And I definitely want to know how, don't get it confused though. The decision or what's happening with Kyrie and what's happening with Ben Simmons is definitely, Ben Simmons has 4 years left in his contract talking about, I don't want to report back to the team. Well, now he's reporting back, but is not going to participate because he just wants to play. Now he might play, but he still wants out. He still wants out. But he has 4 years left on his deal over here trying to demand a trade. We just saw what happened with James Harden. We just saw what happened with Anthony Davis. So there's rumblings. Zion ain't too happy either up in down in New Orleans. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen with all these players signing these contracts, and then like a year or two after they sign these 4, 5, 6 year deals, demanding trades or wanting trades out, or players that may feel differently about getting the vaccine and now they can't play half the home games. I.e. Kyrie, or all the games, i.e. before he got vaccinated, Andrew Wiggins. So, I'm interested to see what the league and how the CBA and how they approach this, because trust and believe there is going to be some changes. You can always tell when something's going to happen with the league, because You knew. I think there was one game. I think it was the Heat and the Spurs, and like no, it was Golden State and somebody, and none of the stars played. Like none of them, because and they were load managing. Now I'm not saying that they Golden State started. I think load managing actually started with the Spurs, but you knew when once there was a big nationally televised game and none of the stars played, you knew that there was going to be changes to come, especially when all they're talking about is this person probably this could have been the first game they ever played or ever went to, and their favorite player wasn't there. Like once those stories started coming, you knew they were going to make a change to load management. Or when players like Kawhi Leonard played less than half the games due to load management, and he comes fresh in the playoffs and helps Toronto win the championship. So you knew something was going to change, and it changed. You can with this whole Kyrie situation, with this whole Ben Simmons situation, you can. I don't know what it is, and I don't know how it's going to change, but you know something's going to change, and I'm just fascinated to see what is going to, how is it going to change? Because trust me, this is going to have a ripple effect on the whole league, whatever happens with these two. So, especially if Ben Simmons gets what he wants and gets out of there, yeah, it's ew. So let's move forward. So let's move over to a little baseball. I was wrong. Now, I'm not gonna say that I am a baseball savant. I'm not an advocate, or I don't avidly watch baseball. I do watch it from time to time. I watch the World Series and everything. I watch the playoffs, but I'm not the biggest. I'm not. I don't love baseball as much as I love maybe like basketball or something. But I say all that to say I was wrong. I think I picked the White Sox, and I think I picked the Giants to make it to the World Series, and boy was I wrong. Now I will say that this has been a very, very exciting playoffs. From Boston beating the Yankees in the wild card to upsetting the number 1 seed in the Tampa Bay Rays. From Houston, which is what I'm starting to see is, and baseball's starting to change. Of course, it's all, sports always change, but baseball's starting to change. And it's been for a while now, actually. The name of the game, especially in baseball, used to be, hey, the biggest markets always win because they have the most payroll. They have the most money. I mean, you look at the Yankees and the Yes Network. You look at the Red Sox, Boston. I mean, to a lesser extent, of course, Boston, Dodgers, like that. Even though the Dodgers did just win, but it used to be the bigger the market. Of course, the more revenue, the more they can pay their players, and they always win. But you're starting to see. I mean, Houston is not a big market, and they are. I mean, they're in the ALCS. The Atlanta Braves, shouts out to Atlanta Braves, man. They're in the NLCS, and it'll be a huge upset if they beat the Dodgers. So right now, I don't know, man. I was clearly wrong because the White Sox folded to the Astros, and the Astros are red hot right now, but so are the Boston Red Sox. So I have the Boston Red Sox right now making it to the World Series, and I mean it's been great. The run that the Braves have been on have been great, but to me, the Dodgers beating the Giants was huge, especially how they did it. With beating them 3-2. I have Boston and I have the Dodgers in the World Series. I think Boston's red hot right now, even though I think the Astros is a better team. They're just red. I think the Boston's red hot after beating the Yankees, after beating the Rays, and I just don't think the Braves have enough pitching for the Dodgers, and Matt Scherzer has been great. Cody Bellinger hasn't really been good, but he came huge in, of course, the Giants series. So I have Boston and the Dodgers in the World Series, man. And it's been a really good playoffs, man. Again, to me, baseball doesn't get interesting baseball only is interesting in my opinion, or only gets interesting, of course, All-Star with the home run derby and the All-Star game and the playoffs. The playoffs are incredible to watch, and I love watching the playoffs. It's just the regular season. It's hard for me to watch 180 some games. So, but it has been a great playoffs, man. So that's definitely exciting to see. And again, I have my original pick in the White Sox and the Giants. That's no go. So I have now with the Boston and Astros playing in the ALCS and the Dodgers and Braves in the NLCS. I have the Boston Red Sox and the LA Dodgers in the World Series. So let's move forward. Hockey's also back. Hockey started last week or this week or whatever it is, Saturday. So this week, and it's been an exciting start. We saw the start of the Seattle Kraken. They are 1-1. They won their first game the other night against the Predators. Their jerseys are kind of fire though, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like I kind of like their jerseys. I mean, I like them. It's a new expansion team, man. And expansion teams can go like sometimes expansion teams are god awful because I mean you're expansion. This is your first year. Or they can go like they went with the Golden Knights when they went to the World Series. I mean, they went to the Stanley Cup. They lost, but it's going to be exciting. Now, right now, Pittsburgh looks good. Now, it's early. It's early. Pittsburgh always looks good. And so does LA. But I'm going to ride with the Capitals, man. Capitals. Washington Capitals, man. I'm going to ride till the wheels fall off. We'll see what happens with OV and everything. And I'm excited to see what happens with Seattle. I hope that they have a successful. I mean, it looks good. They look really good. They look good, but I hope they have a successful first year. Right now, they're as we're recording this, they're 1-1. But I think I'm gonna ride with the Capitals. I'm riding with the Capitals. Watch out. I mean, Boston always has something to say. The Rangers ain't. Well, the Rangers have something to say too. But I think. Coming out the East, I'm going with the Caps. And I'm going to be inclined to say that Seattle's going to make some noise in the Western Conference. But right now, LA still looks good. And LA has been LA for a while. So I'm going to say the World Series is going to be the LA Kings and the Washington Capitals. And I have the Washington Capitals winning it all. You heard it here first, baby. You heard it here first. So, and finally, before we go, I just want to give a shout out to Dawn Staley. She becomes the highest paid black coach in women's basketball with a 7-year, $22.4 million extension with South Carolina Gamecocks. She is one of the greatest basketball players the WNBA has ever seen. She's also one of the greatest basketball coaches the NCAA has ever seen. And the fact that she's a black woman coaching at a school in South Carolina, it's nothing to let just fall by the wayside. Shouts out to her, man. She is a trailblazer and she's one of the greatest basketball minds that we've ever seen. So, that 7-year, $22.4 million extension, every single penny of it is worth it. Every single penny, I guess, is worth it. And Dawn Staley will go down whenever she retires, whenever she hangs it up, as one of the best basketball minds in history, whether it's playing for the WNBA or coaching. So shouts out to her. And the fact that she turned down a lot of WNBA coaching jobs to continue to coach at South Carolina. And she's one of the most winningest coaches. I think she is the most winningest coach in South Carolina history. as far as the Gamecocks. I could be wrong, but I know she's one of the most winningest coaches in women's college basketball history. So shouts out to her. Shouts out to Dawn Staley. I just wanted to end the show that way. So, and there you have it. That has been today's episode of the Unpopular Podcast. I appreciate you guys. If you want an Unpopular Podcast shirt, hoodie, long sleeves, joggers, sweater, the link is in the description below. I have multiple different colors, multiple different designs. Get your Unpopular Podcast merch today. Also, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, so anything will help. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And until next time, much love.